If you watched my Link's Awakening video, which you probably didn't, I talked about my 3 points. These points are what I use to determine how much I enjoyed a game. The first point is gameplay. The game needs to have fun and exciting gameplay that makes me want to come back for more. The second point is story. I like a story that I can get involved with and have some interesting lore that catches my attention. And lastly, soundtrack. I need a soundtrack that once I hear it in-game, I go search it up online and listen to it again. And this video is dedicated to that last point. So I gathered together some of the games that I consider to be my all-time favorite video game soundtracks, so let's not waste any more time and get right into it. Quick honorable mention though, Ori and the Blind Forest. It's just got a fantastic main theme, that's all. Trying to determine what my favorite Mario soundtrack is no easy task. There are so many that trying to determine my favorite is just, it's very difficult. Also, before you say that I could just add multiple to the list, it would be way too long. So I'm just picking my favorite game soundtrack out of its franchise. And the reason I struggled was because it was a contender between Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario Odyssey. But then I thought about it and I realized that there's only 1 or 2 or 3 songs from Galaxy that I actually really love. One of them obviously being Gusty Garden Galaxy. And I had so many more favorites in Odyssey, so it was an easy pick. And these ones are just obvious, but I'm just gonna say them anyway. And pretty much everything else. They just all work so well. Although Gusty Garden Galaxy is better than all of these combined, Odyssey has a wider range of individual great tracks, while for me Galaxy only has 2 or 3. So that's why Mario Odyssey is my favorite Mario soundtrack, which is fitting since it's also my favorite Mario game. Even though Pokémon games are an extreme hit or miss, you cannot deny that they excel in the music department. But which Pokémon game has the best soundtrack? This was one of the hardest ones to choose from, since all of them are so fantastic. So you know what? What the hell, I'm doing the entire franchise for this one. My reason being that some Mario games just don't do it for me in music, but every Pokémon game slaps. and just everything else. Just everything, all in. I'm going all in. Every game has banger music, and nothing can change my mind. I have very recently fallen in love with Hollow Knight. I only played it in September for the first time, and I'm already excited for Silksong. And speaking of song, the soundtrack for Hollow Knight is utter perfection. From Dirtmouth really driving into us that feeling of abandonment and despair, to the deceptively beautiful echoes of City of Tears. Everything works to the environment's favor. I just love how well they work in their respective areas. I don't think any other game perfects it in this way. It's just that perfect. If you haven't played Hollow Knight, play it right now. Go. Now. One of my favorite memories of playing a game before 2020 was the day I got my hands on the masterpiece that is Sonic Mania. I hadn't really played Sonic games before that, other than the first one, but when I started playing, I was just enamored by the whole experience. Green Hill Zone is nothing to write home about since I had already played it before, but everything after that was amazing. Chemical Plant Zone, specifically Act 2, was one of my favorites, and I struggled to play the original after that, and Studiopolis is my all-time favorite Sonic zone. Then it just maintained the perfection throughout each zone. All of them are just utter perfection. Okay, well, Metallic Madness as a zone is okay, but the music saves it. And I love that each Act 2 for the zones are just different versions of the Act 1s, which is amazing. Yet again, if you haven't played Sonic Mania, go do it now. It was pretty much my introduction to the Sonic franchise, and I love it so much for that. Persona 5 Royal has already shot itself up to my top 5 games of all time, despite only playing it for the first time back in November. I don't think I'm anywhere near done with it either, I'm just having a blast. It's a game I often go back to play when I'm just not busy making videos, and the soundtrack is one of those reasons. because the moment that intro started playing, I was hyped. There's no words that really describe it, and it just feels like the type of music that belongs nowhere else except in this specific game. And while I haven't played any other Persona games, I'm excited to one day get around to them. Here are a few examples of just how great the soundtrack is.
Try to run me through, hold on, think again, don't you know what you're starting? But you sure we got the clue, how bad this we go, don't you know, no more art, I'll not be a show to remember. Take over, it's time to put it down, make over, nothing's gonna take away my life was over when it's got to put that to the top line.
I just cannot think of any music in this game that is truly terrible. I enjoy pretty much everything, and I cannot wait to continue playing later and hopefully finally finish playing. Ocarina of Time is simply just a wonderful game, and even if that reason is because of only its soundtrack. Whether you dislike the gameplay, the graphics, the story, the music is undeniably the only thing that cannot be disputed as bad. I think the game is worth playing if you're only interested in its soundtrack, and you may even grow to love it from there. I don't think I really need to get into much detail about it because I'm sure you've heard at least one of these songs somewhere on the internet, even if you're unaware that you have. The list just goes on, and it just expands even more in Majora's Mask. And yeah, pretty much every Zelda game has a banger soundtrack, but I think that Ocarina of Time is the Zelda game with the best soundtrack. I mean, have you heard the intro? You know what, I'm not even gonna say anything for this one, I'm just gonna let the music speak for itself. Minecraft has always been my favorite game, and I have so many fond memories of playing it with my friends. And I feel like the soundtrack helps bring those memories back in the form of nostalgia. And yes, nostalgia can blind you, but I don't think I am here. I love this game and its soundtrack so much. Okay, so if I'm being honest, I was finished with this script, but then I started streaming on Twitch recently and I was playing Outer Wilds, and from the title screen I could tell the soundtrack was incredible. And as I played, I was right. So here's my message to go play Outer Wilds, or come join me on Twitch. Actually, just go play it, you'll probably have a great time with it, especially if you're a Majora's Mask nut.